Today we have a 2007 Jeep Grand Cherokee with a 5.7 liter Hemi. The starter's acting up. So we're going to get it up in the air and see how hard it is to put the starter in. First thing we're going to do, we're going to disconnect the negative battery and we'll get the rack set and get it up in the air, and let's take a look and see how hard it is to put the starter in. Okay, we got the starter out of the box. I can take a look at it and see what the starter looks like. As you see, there's the main terminal. The main battery terminal is going to go here. Then the start wire is going to get hooked up here. And as you see, the two bolts there and there have threads. So that means the bolts are going to come through the back side of, it's probably going to sit here in the bell housing somewhere like this, and the bolts are going to come this way because these are threaded. So I got the battery disconnected. Let's get it up in the air and take a look. Alrighty, we're underneath the vehicle now, and this is the front differential, and there's the front drive shaft, and the starter is right up there. And like I said, the bolts come through the back side. That's a good shot. There's one of the bolts there. There's one of the other bolts there. It's got a heat shield here. It's going to have to come disconnected. And hopefully, with the wires up front, hopefully we can get these unbolted and the starter will fit through here. If not, we're probably going to have to take the front drive shaft down. So let me get that heat shield unbolted and the wiring disconnected and see how it's going to slide out of here. All right, I'll show you on the new starter. There is a bolt here and you can screw it. And there's also a bolt here. And that is where the heat shield fastens to. So it fastens on there just like this. They give you a nice adjustment here. And up here, you got to get that one started. So the way I was able to get that one out, let me go ahead and get one of the bolts started here. I'll show you how I got this one out. I was able to reach up in there with my gear wrench, mini flex, and was able to get this one loose. And then this bolt here, I was able just to use a regular wrench on it. Now that I got the heat shield out, there is a little bit more room up in there. Let me see if I can get the light shining up in there. There we go. To get back there, come on, focus in the back. Oh, the camera doesn't want to focus. Well, gives me a little bit more room back there to get to the wires. There we go. To get to the wires on the starter. So I'm going to go ahead and get the wires on the starter next, and then we'll go for the bolts on the back of the bell housing. I was having kind of a hard time getting my hand up there to get to those wires, so I decided to go ahead and pull the left front wheel off, pull this clip out, and maybe this clip out, and then I could pull this farther forward. And as you can see, there's a nice big hole there, and there are my top starter wires right there. I do believe that I will be able, right there, I will be able to get the wires disconnected from here, and after I get the starter unbolted, it'll come through this nice big hole underneath the power brake booster. So that's what I do believe it's how it's going to come out. Alrighty, I was able to get in there with a 13mm deep socket and a very short ratchet to get that top nut off the wires. That's in basically the center of the frame, and the other wire just pulled off. So now I gotta go back up the air and get the two mounting bolts out, and I do believe the starter's gonna come right through this hole without any problems. All right, so I was just able to get my super long ratchet with my 15mm swivel up on both bolts and just take them both out. And now the starter has flopped down, and I bet you, well, the car wasn't so high in the air, I could probably reach up, get the starter out. Let me let the car down a little bit, and we'll see if we can get the starter out. Let me go ahead and grab this bolt out of here, because I'll probably take and clean the threads up. All right, I got the car back down. I'm in the fender well, and There's the starter all loose down at an angle. Let me reach in there with my right hand, grab the solenoid, twist it around. Let me see if I can get it to come up and out. There it is right there. There's the head of it. Let's switch hands. And the solenoid appears to be stuck on the motor mount. Yeah, the solenoid is kind of stuck on the motor mount there. Let me work on it and twist on it a little bit, and I guarantee it's going to come out of there. But let me put the phone down and I'll come back after I get it out. Okay, actually it wasn't the motor mount, it was a steering shaft stabilizer. I went ahead and took out 2 bolts here so this would come up just a little tiny bit, and that was all I needed to get the starter up and out. Bring it on over. Let's take a peek and see if it looks like it's the right one. It does appear to be the right one. I don't think I'm going to be able to put this starter in with the heat shield on. So let me go ahead and drop the heat shield back off of here and take a look. It looks like the right one. So basically it's going to be the reverse way to put it back together. We're going to drop the starter in the hole. We're going to hook up the steering stabilizer. We're going to put the 2 bolts back in here, and these 2 bolts are the same size, so you don't have to worry about getting them mixed up. We're going to rehook up the electrical connection, and then we'll have to fish the heat shield back in. Now that I got that hole open, I think it's going to be easier to get this heat shield back in. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. That's a overview on how to put a starty in a Jeep Hemi. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and please share. All right, everybody, we got some bonus footage on that Jeep Grand Cherokee with the Hemi motor. I want to go over something with you. So after I got done putting the new starter in, the new starter acted up. Put the key in, turned it to crank it, and it would go click. It wouldn't start. Let off the key, turn the key again, click, didn't start. Do it the 3rd time, it finally started up and ran. And then after we got it started up and run, there must have been something wrong with the Bendix, which is the gear in here, because it was making a ching-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling sound. So we had to get another starter for it. So I went ahead and put the starter in. That of it not starting, of it going click, is what the guy who owns the Jeep was talking about. But one thing I noticed on this Jeep is this connector here is the start connector that plugs in on the start wire here. This is identical to the start wire they had on the Ford Crown Victorias and the Ford Explorers, and they were having a really bad time with corrosion getting up in here and these things going bad. As you can see, this one doesn't look terribly bad, but since I had it apart and it was easier to get to, I went ahead and I cut this off and I put a new female connector on to make sure, and then I made sure it fit nice and tight on the new starter. So his problem could have been a bad connection here. It's a very common problem on the Fords, and this looks just like a Ford starter, at least the solenoid and this wire connection. So I went ahead and replaced the starter again because the Bendix was hanging up a little bit and it wouldn't start, and I replaced this wire, and the first time it started right up, and I tried it a few more times, it started right up. So I think I've taken care of this gentleman's problem. This starter does, I can't tell if it's been replaced or not. It's been in there a long time, but I think the connector was probably part of his problem. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the bonus footage, and we'll see you later.